We're going to work on Zen of the pen. So I'm going to go ahead and open all of those files so that I can just go from one through all 5 of them. So I'm going to go open, open, and I just downloaded them. Where did they go? Okay, so I saved them in the wrong folder accidentally. That's okay. So we've got all 5. So I want to open 2, 3, 4, and 5. It's going to take a little thinking. Okay. So I'm going to go back to number 1. So the way that these worksheets are set up, the layers here are locked with my content that is meant to guide you through the practice. And then you've got a layer where you can work. So number 1, we're going to click the pen tool. First we're going to find the pen tool over here and use it, right? So it's this kind of pen icon, and it is the third one on the left. The shortcut for it is the letter P on the keyboard. So I'm going to click the pen tool, and we want to, right, we are making no handles here. We're making straight lines. So we're kind of following this line. We're going click, 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 click. And it says, right, go back to the pen tool to end the object. What I actually do is just switch tools, and I do that with keyboard shortcuts. I'm going to just finish off my pen again, and I hit the letter V on the keyboard to change tools. So the selection tool is the keyboard shortcut V. And then another thing I want to make sure you all do is pay attention to, this is a black stroke and it has a white fill because it's hidden this behind it. So we want to take that fill off, and we want to click none. So, well, we want to click our line and then click none. So now this is just a line, right? It has no fill. So we did that easily. We're doing good. So for this, number 2, it's guiding us to understand, this is sort of guiding us to understand how to literally click, drag, or use keyboard shortcuts and different keyboard tools to modify the use of the pen tool. So I'm going to start my line. I'm going to click once, and it is directing me to hold down Shift and click here. And so if I hold down Shift, it will only allow me to make a perfectly straight line, sort of perfect 90-degree from my point, or a 45. So I can only sort of make these straight paths. So if I'm not holding Shift, I can make it go anywhere. If I hold Shift, I'm forcing it to be a straight line. And it's a little trick to help yourself make sure you've got a 90-degree corner. So I'm going to hold Shift again and click. Now I'm not holding Shift, and I'm clicking. I am going to hold Shift, and this is a 45-degree angle, and click, and it is instructing me to hold Shift and hold it there, and here, and here, and here. So I've just sort of been holding Shift that entire time while I was drawing. So I'm going to go to the selection and get out of the pen tool. So And because I had removed my fill there, automatically I had that set up to do the second one, and I didn't have to do it by hand. So now we're going to trace easy. Okay, so we're going to make sure that we use the shift in the right place so that we've got these straight lines. So I'm going to start here. I'm going to hold shift, and I'm just not going to let go. I'm going to, kind of trace this line and hold shift the entire time, and it will speed it up and also ensure that these are all straight lines with 90-degree angles. So because I closed that, and when you close it, you get a little circle next to your pen. So on the icon for the pen tool, you want to make sure, and I'm going to zoom in here, you want to make sure you pay attention to what is just to the right of the pen icon. We've got an asterisk right now. So I'll show you when I hover over this line, it turns into a plus. And when I hover over a point, it turns into a minus. So I can add a point and I can subtract a point. And I'll just subtract this point and you'll see what happens. So I don't actually want to do that, but I'm going to undo. But I do want you all to see some of these tricks. Okay, so now I'm going to start my A, and I have my asterisk, which is great. I'm going to go ahead and try holding shift, but it's not the right angle, right? So I'm going to not hold shift and try and match it up. And then I have a straight line, so I'm going to hold shift. Not holding shift, holding shift. And just kind of do my best to trace this, right? So you see when I'm closing the shape and hovering, I've got a circle to the right of my pen icon. So that indicates that I've closed the shape. And really pay attention to whether you're leaving just kind of open lines or closing up shapes, because it is a sort of way that Illustrator is designed to function, is to make it possible for you to create a shape and fill it with a color or add a stroke to it. So you don't always have to do those things, but it sort of lends itself to working with closed shapes. And there's definitely opportunities where you don't need to do that and you are just focusing on line. But the pen tool is basically the most powerful and particular tool and gives the user ultimate control of each vector point, right? So, and it draws somewhat intuitively. It's not as intuitive as holding a stylus and a tablet, but it the goal with this exercise is to lead you all through these keyboard shortcuts so that you get faster at using the pen tool and you understand how to modify and adapt it as you're drawing. So I'm going to start with my S. My S has all these straight lines and right angles, so I'm going to hold shift the entire time. Okay. So that one goes really fast. And I'm not going to do the Y because I don't feel like I need to. So this one is sort of focusing on you understanding the difference between closing shapes and having open shapes. So like we're going to work on this A and hold shift. And if I were to just go over here and keep trying to work and this part of the A, that would not really lead me to what I want to do, right? So what I need to do is change tools, hit V, I'm in the cursor, and then hit P again. So I'm just changing tools so that it kind of tells it that I want to start over with a new start point, and I don't want it to connect to that old line. But say I want to close an open line. If I hover over this, you see a little diagonal line there, and I can connect to that point and close that hole if I want to. I really don't, so I'm going to undo it. Okay, so it looks like this one is pretty much done, and I'm going to go ahead and save that and move on to number 2. So if